come out of Babylon. Hobby horses foam, the dumb-scar rhinoceros glum. Watch the courses of the breakers rocking horses, and with courses Lady Venus on the settee of the horsehair sea, where Lord Tennyson in laurels were to Gloria free, in a borealic iceberg in Victoria. She knew Prince Albert's Storm Memorial took the colours of the floreal and the borealic iceberg floating on the sea. You were risen, Madame Venus, for whose sake from far came the fat and zebra emperor from Zanzibar, where like golden bouquets lay for Asia, Africa, Cathay, led before that shady lady by the fibroid Shah. Captain Tracker, stout as any water butt, came stood with Sir Bacchus both a drinking of that card gate's blood, plucked among the tartan leafage by the furry winter's griefage could not wither like a squirrel with a gold star nut. Queen Victoria sitting shocked upon the rocking horse of a visit to the laureate, this minx of course is as sharp as any lynx and blacker deeper than the drinks and quite as hot as any Hottentot without remorse. For the minx, said she, and the drinks you can see are hot as any Hottentot and not the good for me.
Springtime, after their tea, through the young fields of the springing Bohea, Jemima, Jocasta, Dinah, and Deb walked with their father, Sir Joshua Jebb, an admiral red, whose only notion a butterfly poised on a pigtailed ocean is of the peruqued sea whose swell breaks on the flowerless rocks of hell. Under the thin trees, Deb and Dinah, Jemima, Jocasta walked, and finer their black hair seemed, flat sleek to see, than the young leaves of the springing Bohea. Their cheeks were like nutmeg flowers when swells the rain into foolish silver bells. They said, if the door you would only slam, or if, Papa, you would once say damn, instead of merely roaring avast, or boldly invoking the nautical blast. We should now stand in the street of hell, watching siesta shutters that fell with a noise like amber, softly sliding. Our moonlight glances through these gliding would see at her table, creamed and set, Marina sitting at her toilette, with eyelids closed as soft as the breeze that flows from gold flowers on the incense trees. The Admiral said,
You could never call, I assure you, it would not do at all. She gets down from table without saying please, forgets her prayers and to cross her T's. In short, her scandalous reputation has shocked the whole of the hellish nation, and every turban chinoiserie with whom we should sip our black Bohea would stretch out her simian fingers thin to scratch you, my dears, like a mandolin.
For hell is just as properly proper as Greenwich or as Bath or Joppa.
What are you staring at, mariner man? Wrinkled as sea sand and old as the sea, those trains will run over their tails if they can, snorting and sporting like porpoises flee. The whirligig wheels of the train, as round as the well and as large again, running half the way over to Babylon, down through fields of clover to gay Troy town, a-puffing their smoke as grey as the curl on my forehead, as wrinkled as sands of the sea. But what can that matter to you, my girl, and what can that matter to me?
on steel grass, the white soldiers pass. The light is braying like an ass. See, the tall Spanish jade, with hair black as nightshade, worn as a cockade, flee. Her eyes gasconade, and her gowns parade, as stiff as a brigade. Tee-hee! The hard and braying light is sea-bread black and white. It will take away the slight and free. Tinge of the mouth organ sound, oyster stall notes oozing round, her flounces as they sweep the ground. The trumpet and the drum and the martial cornet come to make the people dumb, but we won't wait for Slyfoot night. Moonlight watered milk white bright, to make clear the declaration of our Paphian vocation beside the castanetted sea, where stalks il Capitano, swaggered braggadocio, sword and mustachio. He is green as a cassada, and his hair is an armada. To the jade, come kiss me harder, he called across the battlements as she heard our voices thin and shrill as the steely grasses thrill, or the sound of the onica when the foca has the pica in the palace of the queen Chinese.
Through gilded trellises of the heat, Dolores, Inez, Manuccia, Isabel, Lucia, mock time that flies. Lovely bird, will you stay and sing? Flirting your sheened wing, peck with your beak and cling to our balconies. They flirt, their fans flaunting. Oh, silence enchanting as music, then slanting their eyes. Like gilded or emerald grapes, they take mantillas, capes, hiding their simian shapes, sighs. Each lady, our spadille is done. Dance the quadrille from hell stars to Seville. Surprise their siesta, Dolores said. Through gilded trellises of the heat, spangles pelt down through the tangles of bellflowers. Each dangles her castanets. Shutters fall while the heat mutters, with sounds like a mandolin or tinkled tambourine. Ladies, time dies. When Don Pasquito arrived at the seaside, where the donkey's high tide braid, he saw the bandito Joe in a black cape, whose slack shape waved like the sea. It is rotatory, it is noting, it is silver like the sea. The lovely cheetah speech is firmer. Otis notices that she will steal pearls. Wheat came sluggish like Babel before the League of Nations grew. So Job with the luggage and the label, in the pocket of Flo the kangaroo. Through trees like rich hotels, the toad of dreamless ease fled she, carrying the load and goading the road through the marine scene to the sea. The mosquito, the road is eloping with your luggage so heavy and large. You must follow and leave your moping and ride to my guidance and charge. When Don Pasquito returned from the road's end, where vanilla-colored ladies ride, from Sevilla his Mantilian bride and young friend were forgetting their mentor and guide. For the lady and her friend from the two came in the very shady trees upon the sand, were plucking a white satin bouquet of foam, while the sand's brassy band blared in the wind. Don Pasquito hid where the leaves drip with sweet, but a word stung him like a mosquito. For what they hear, they repeat.
Grey leaves, thick-furred as his ears, keep conversations blurred. Thicker than hide is the trumpeting water, Don Pasquito's bride and his youngest daughter. Watch the leaves elephantine grey. What is it grieves in the torrid day? Is it the animal world that snores, harsh and inimical in sleepy pause? And why should the spined flowers red as a soldier make Don Pasquito seem still moldier? In a room of the palace, Black Mrs. Behemoth gave way to wrath and the wildest malice. Cried Mrs. Behemoth, "Come, come, come, court lady, doomed like a moth through palace rooms shady." The candle flame seemed a yellow pompion, sharp as a scorpion. Nobody came, only a bugbear, ere unkind, that Budford papoose, the young spring wind, blew out the candle. Where is it gone? To flat Coromandel rolling on.
Where Where the satyrs are chattering, nymphs with their flattering glimpse of the forest enhance, all the beauty of marrow and cucumber narrow and ceres will join in the dance. Where the satyrs can flatter the flat leaf fruit and the gherkin green and the marrow, the Queen Venus, Silenus will settle between us, the good and the cucumber narrow. See, like palaces hid in the lake, they shake, those greenhouses shot by her arrow, narrow. The gardener seizes the pieces like creases for gilding the potting shed barrow. There the raspberry roots and the strawberry fruits fill the nymphs' high boots in the glade, trampling and sampling berserkers, kachukas, and Turkish Krakowiaks hid in the shade. Where in the Hickox the country names gatelocks are gowns with a looped over bright yellow petticoats, gaiters of leather and fenced silk feathers, and straw hats bewildering many a leathern bat. There they hate their towers and wines in showers, the dew in the dockskin bright flowers. Pumpkin and marrow and cucumber narrow have grown through the spangled June hours. Melons as dark as cakes have for their fountain ways thick as gold honey, and wrinkled as dark as pan old Silenus, yet youthful as Venus, her goods and the wrinkled figs whence all the jewels ran. Said Queen Venus, Silenus will settle between us, the nymph's disobedience forestall. With my bow and my quiver each fresh she will deliver, but I don't understand it at all.
Rose and Alice, oh, the pretty lasses, with their mouths like a callus, and their hair a golden palace, through my heart like a lovely wind they blow. Though I am black and not comely, though I am black as the darkest trees, I have swarms of gold that will fly like honey bees. By the rivers of the sun I will feed my words until they skip like those fleeced lambs, the waterfalls and the river's horned rams. Then for all my darkness I shall be the peacefulness of a lovely a tree wherein the golden birds are singing in the darkest branches.
Across the thick and the pastel snow, two people go. And do you remember when last we wandered this shore?
Ah, no, for it is cold-hearted December.
Dead, the leaves that like asses' ears hung on the trees, when last we wandered and squandered joy here. Now Midas, your husband, will listen for these whispers, these tears for joy's bier. And as they walk, they seem tall pagodas, and all the ropes let down from the cloud ring the hard cold bell buds upon the trees, codas of overtones, ecstasies grown for love's shroud. That hob-nailed goblin, the bob-tailed hob, said it is time I began to rob, for strawberries bob, hobnob with the pearls of cream like the pearls of the dairy girls, and flushed with the heat and fruitish ripe are the gowns of the maids who dance to the pipe. Chase a maid, she's afraid.
Go gather a bob-cherry kiss from a tree, but don't, I prithee, come bothering me,
she said, as she fled. The snouted satyrs drink clouted cream neath the chestnut trees as thick as a dream.
So I went and lent, where none but the doltish, coltish wind nuzzled my hand for what it could find as it may. I said, "Don't touch me, sir, don't touch me, I say. You'll tumble my strawberries into the hay. Those snow mounds of silver that be the spring has sucked his sweetness from, I will bring with fair-haired plants and with apples chill. For the great god Pan's high altar I'll spill not one."
So in fun, we rolled on the grass and began to run, chasing that gaudy satyr, the sun. Over the Hickox away we ran, crying, "Here be berries as sunburnt as Pan." But Silenus has seen us, he runs like the rough satyr's son. Come away.
La-la-la-la-la-la-la-la! See me dance the polka, said Mr. Wag like a bear, with my top hat and my whiskers that tra-la-la-la-trap the fair. With the waves in chiming Hickox, I dance the polka there. Stand Venus, children in their gay frocks, maroon and marine and stare. To see me fire my pistol through the distance blue as my coat, like Wellington wide on the Marquis of Bristol, buzz with great trees float. While the wheezing hurdy-gurdy of the marine wind blows me to the tune of any rooney sturdy over the sheets of the sea, and bright as a seedman's packet, with Senior's candy stuffs chill, is Mrs. Marigold's jacket as she gapes at the indoor still. With a dawn in the box of the sailor, blue as the decks of the sea, Nelson awoke, crowed like a cock, and back to the dust sank he. And Robinson Crusoe, the bright and foxy bear, but he finds fresh eyes in the negress smiles, the poxy doxy dear. As they watch me dance the polka, said Mr. Wag like a bear, in my top hat and my whiskers that tra-la-la-la-trap the fair. Tra-la-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la.
Cried the navy blue ghost of Mr. Belleca, the Allegro Negro cocktail shaker. Why did the cock crow? Why am I lost down the endless road to infinity tossed? The tropical leaves are whispering white as water. I race the wind in my flight down the promenade, edging the far-off sand is the foam of the sirens, metropole and grand. As I race through the leaves as white as water, my ghost flowed over a nursemaid quarter, and there I saw the long grass weep where the guinea fowl plumaged houses sleep, and the sweet ring doves of kerned milk watch the infanta's gown of silk in the ghost room tall where the governante whispers slyly, fading andante. In at the window then looked he, the navy blue ghost of Mr. Bellica, the Allegro Negro cocktail shaker. And his flattened face like the moon saw she, rhinoceros black, yet flowing like the sea.
Beyond the scene, the anchor, the sheen, marine obscene horizon. In hell, black as a bison. See the tall black aga on the sofa in the algamopa's bell rope. Moustache clear as a great bell. Waves in 1880 bustles come. Late with tambourines of rustling foam. They answer to the names of ancient games and shames, and only call horizons their home. These Chinese, these black armored fleas, dancer breezes seeking for horizons wide. From her orisons in the white vermilion pavilion by the seaside, the doors clang open and hide. Where the wind died, nothing but the princess, cockatrice lean, dancing up the priest to the wind's tambourine. Daisy and Lily, lazy and silly, walk by the shore of the wan grassy sea, talking once more neath a swan-bosom tree. Those castles, tourelles, those bustles where swells each foam bell of ermine, they roam and determine what fashions have been and what fashions will be. What tartan leaves born, what crinolines worn. By Queen Thetis, pelisses of tarlatine blue, like the thin-plaided leaves that the castle crags grew, or velour d'Afrande on the water god's land. Her hair seemed gold trees on the honeycell sand, when thicker gold spangles on deep water seen, when like twanging guitar and like cold mandolin, and the nymphs of great caves with hair like gold waves of Venus wore tarlatine. Louise and Charlatine, Boreas' daughters, and the nymphs of deep waters, the nymph Taglioni Grisi, the Ondine, were plaided Victoria and thin Clementine, like the crinolined waterfalls. Wood nymphs wear bonnets, shawls, elegant parasols, floating are seen. The Amazons wear balsarin of jonquil, beside the blonde lace of a deep falling roll. Through glades like a nun, they run from and shun the enormous and gold-rayed rustling sun. And the nymphs of the fountains descend from the mountains like elegant willows on their deep barouche pillows. In Kashmir, Alvanda, Barège, Isabel, like bells of bright water from clearest wood well, our elegance favouring bonnets of blonde, the stars in their apiaries, sylphs in their aviaries, seeing them spangle these and the sylphs fond, from their aviaries fanned with each long fluid hand, the Monto Espanols mimic the waterfalls over the long and the light summer land. So Daisy and Lily, lazy and silly, walk by the shore of the wan grassy sea, talking once more neath a swan-bosom tree. Those castles, tourelles, those bustles, morels, of the shade in their train follow. Ladies, how vain, hollow. Gone is the sweet swallow. Gone, Philomel. Smally seem each stream, horses' tails that swish, and the chimes remind us of sweet birds singing like the jangling bells. On rose trees ringing, man must say farewells to parents now, and to William tell, and Mrs. Cow, man must say farewells to storks and bets, and to roses' bells, and statuettes, forests white and black, in spring are blue with forget-me-nots, and to lovers true still the sweet bird begs, and tries to cozen them by angels' eggs, sold by the dozen. Gone are clouds like inns on the garden's brinks, and the mountain gins Ganymede sells drinks, while the days seem grey, and his heart of eyes grey as chamois, o'er the edelweiss, and the mountain streams like cowbells sound, tira-lira drowned in the waiter's dreams. Who has gone beyond the forest waves, while his true and fond ones seek their graves?
Take a bath in Jordan, Gordon, on the holy Sabbath on the peaceful day, with the huntsman playing on his old bagpipe, boring to death the pheasant and the snipe, boring the ptarmigan and grouse for fun, boring them worse than a 9-bore gun, till the flaxen leaves where the prunes are ripe heard the tartan wind droning through the pipe, and they heard Macpherson say, where do the waves go? What hotels hide their bustles and their gay umbrellas? And would there be room? Would there be room? Would there be room for me? There is a hotel at Ostend, cold as the wind without an end, haunted by ghostly poor relations of Bostonian conversations like bagpipes rotting through the walls, and there the bell ropes fall like shawls with a noise like marine waterfalls, and another little drink wouldn't do us any harm, pierces through the sabbatical calm, and that is the place for me. So do not take a bath in Jordan, Gordon, on the holy Sabbath on the peaceful day, or you'll never go to heaven, Gordon Macpherson. And speaking purely as a private person, that is the place, that is the place, that is the place for me. Lily O'Grady, silly and shady, longing to be a lazy lady, walk by the cupola's gables in the lakes, Georgian stables, in a fairy tale like the heat intense of the mist in the woods when across the fence the children gathering strawberries are changed by the heat into negresses, though their fair hair shines there like gold-haired planets, Calliope, Io, Pomona, Antiope, Echo, and Clio. Then Lily O'Grady, silly and shady, sauntered along like a lazy lady. Beside the waist Hickox has gown with tucks, but it sat in the colour of shining green ducks, and her folderol parasol was a great gold sun over Hickox shining, but she was a negress, black as the shade that time on the brightest lady laid. Then her satyr dog haired as trunks of trees, began to flatter, began to tease. And she ran like the nymphs with golden foot that trampled the strawberry buttercup root in the thick gold dew as bright as the mesh of dead Panope's golden flesh. Made from the music whence were born Memphis and Thebes in the first hot morn, and ran to wake in the lake where the water ripples seem hay to rake. And Charlottine, Adeline, round rose bubbling Victorine, and the other fish express a wish for mastic mantles and gowns with a swish, and bright and slight as the posies of buttercups and of roses, and buds of the wildwood lilies. They chase her as frisky as fillies. The red retriever-haired satyr can whine and tease her and flatter. But Billy O'Brady, silly and shady, in the deep shade is a lazy lady. Now Pomp is dead, Homer's red, Heliogabalus lost his head, and shade is on the brightest wing, and dust forbids the bird to sing.
Old Sir Fork, tall as a stalk, before the honeyed fruits of dawn were ripe, would walk and stalk with a gun the rennet-coloured sun. Among the feathered corn the unicorn has torn forlorn the smock-faced sheep. Sit and sleep, periwigged as William and Mary weep. Sally, Mary, Matty, what's the matter? Why cry? The huntsman and the rennet-coloured sun, and I sigh. Oh, the nursery maid Meg, with a leg like a peg, chased the feathered dreams like hens, and when they laid an egg in the sheepskin meadows where the serene King James would steer, horse and hounds then he from the shade of a tree picked it up as called to boil for nursery tea, sent the mourners. In the corn tower strain, feathered tall as a crane, and whistling down the feathered rain, oh Noah goes again, an old dull gnome with a head like a poem. Seeing the world as a bare egg laid by the feathered air, Meg would beg 3 of these for the nursery teas. Of Japhet, Shem, and Ham she gave it underneath the trees, where the boiling water hissed like the goose king's feathered daughter kissed. Pot and pan and copper kettle put upon their proper metal, lest the flood begin again through these.
When Sir Beelzebub called for his syllabub in the hotel in hell where Proserpine first fell, blue as the gendarmerie were the waves of the sea,
Rocking and shocking the barmaid.
Nobody comes to give him his rum, but the rim of the sky hippopotamus glum enhances the chances to bless with the benison outdoor Tennyson, crossing the barlade with cold vegetation from pale deputations of temperance workers,
All signed in memoriam,
hoping with glory to trip up the laureate feet.
moving in classical meters.
Like Balaclava, the lava came down from the roof, and the sea's blue wooden gendarmerie took them in charge while Beelzebub roared for his rum.
None of them come! Came the great popping jay, smelling his nosegay. In cages like grots, the birds sing gavots. Herodiad's flea was named Sweet Amanda. She danced like a lady from here to Uganda. Oh, what a dance was there! Long hair, the candle, Salome-like, tossed her hair to a dance tune by Handel. Dance they still. Then came courtier death. vivid breath.
Jane, Jane, tall as a crane, the morning light creaks down again. Comb your coxcomb ragged hair. Jane, Jane, come down the stair. Each dull, blunt, wooden stalactite of rain creaks hardened by the light, sounding like an overtone from some lonely world unknown. But the creaking empty light will never harden into sight, will never penetrate your brain with overtones like the blunt rain. The light would show if it could harden eternities of kitchen garden, coxcomb flowers that none will pluck, and wooden flowers that begin to cluck. In the kitchen you must light flames as staring red and white as carrots or as turnips shining, where the cold dawn light lies whining. Coxcomb hair on the cold wind hangs limp, turns the milk's weak mind. Jane, Jane, tall as a crane, the morning light creaks down again.
Rat-a-ta-tan, the marshal's harrier bites and fights the water carrier. Moss as a druid, under the walls thin waters fall and turn into fluid, petals of tulips and hard regalias of lilies and dahlias. Then as they brawl, Jupiter leaned from his vast snow cage, cut the marshal's harrier still in a rage. He bites and fights the wall-run mojo as stiff as a soldier stands the breeze, like a handy Andy and words they bandy. handy Andy, and words they bandy. Under the dandy, under the dandy, under the dandy Dinmont trees. Madam Mouse trots, grey in the black night. Madam Mouse trots, third is the light. The elephant trunks, trumpet from the sea. Grey in the black night, the mouse trots free. Hoarse as a dog's bark, the heavy leaves are furled. The cat in his cradle, well with the world!
The octogenarian leaned from his window to the valerian growing below. Said, "My nightcap is only the gap in the trembling thorn where the mild unicorn with the little infanta danced the la volta, clapping hands molto lent eleganta." The man with the lanthorn peers high and low, no more than a snore as he walks to and fro. Il dottore the stoic, cull silver herb beneath the superb vast moon azoic. Baskets of ripe fruit in air, the bird song seem suspended where between the hairy leaves trills dew, all tasting of fresh green anew. Ma'am, I've heard your laughter flare through your waspish gilded hair. Feathered masks, pots of peas, Janus asks, naught of these. Creaking water, brightly striped, now I caught a shrieking biped. Flute sounds jump and turn together, changing clumps of glassy feather. In among the pots of peas, nigher changes, quick as these.
Castles, those bustles, beneath parasol seen, fat blondine, pearls rondine, curls seam, banderol sheen, the brave tartan waves, Spartan domes, crystal palaces where like fallacies die the calices of the water flowers green, said the dean to the queen on the tartan wave scene. Each chilly white lily has her own crinoline, and the seraphs recline on diamonds divine in a smooth seventh heaven of polished pitch pine. Castellated, related to castles, the waves lean Balmoral-like, they quarrel, strike as round as a rondine, with sharp towers, the waterflowers, and floating between, each chatelaine in the battle slain, laid low by the Ondine.
King Pompey, the emperor's ape, thundering black in his temporal cape of dust. The dust is everything, the heart to love and the voice to sing. Indianapolis and the Acropolis, also the hairy sky that we take for a coverlet comfortably. Said the bishop, eating his ketchup, there still remains eternity, swelling the diocese, the elephantiasis, the blunted and trumpeting sea.